Our first guest tonight is a talented actor and director you know from films such as Loving, Boy Erased, The Boys in the Boat, and Red Sparrow. He stars in Dark Matter, which premieres May 8th on Apple TV+. Let's take a look.
A box that would allow a person to travel across the multiple realities of quantum physics. And what if he used that box to travel to my world? What if the person that abducted me is me?
Please welcome back to the show our friend Joel Edgerton, everybody. Welcome back, my friend. I'm not just saying this, maybe best beard we've ever had on a guest.
Really?
Well, it's like, it feels like perfect symmetry. Like if you turned it upside down, it would also work. Yeah.
You've never had Nick Offerman on here?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Never
he's
mind.
best beard in the business.
Offerman's is better. You're right.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
you know what?
trying.
You're honest, though. You came right out and gave me a better beard. It's been a while. I'm so happy to see you in person. I haven't seen you in person since before the pandemic.
2018,
Yeah.
all these world events are trying to keep us apart.
And now we're together again.
And now we're together.
Look at it. And the chemistry is everything I remembered.
That cuddle backstage
Yeah.
was amazing.
This is based on a book I read and really enjoyed. And it's thrilling to watch it adapted. And also, I think one of the things that probably helps the adaptation is the author of the book, Blake Crouch,
Yeah.
was actually the showrunner of the show.
He wrote the book, he wrote the screenplays, and he was the showrunner. And if only, thank God he's not a good actor, because
Yeah.
I would be out of a job. He literally did everything, and he was daddy for everything that we needed.
And I should know, like, it makes a lot of sense to have somebody like that on board because this is intricately plotted, a lot of big ideas about quantum physics.
Parallel universes, yeah, somebody's got to keep an eye on all of the infinite possibilities.
Yeah. You get to, I mean, you always said, like, your issue with the universe is there was only one of you. And so this show...
Yeah. Yeah. I kept joking in the early phases of it. It's like, I've always wanted to work with myself.
Yeah.
And I finally got to do it. And I have to say, I wouldn't recommend it. Especially doing fight scenes with yourself.
Right.
Because, you know, I play a physics teacher, on one version of myself, not a failed physics teacher, but a physics teacher who's not really happy with it.
Unsatisfied, yeah.
Yeah, and I kept trying to underline to the stunt guys that this physics teacher doesn't run off to Taekwondo classes every couple of days. So having two science teachers fight each other was the challenge. You know? A little bit better than that, but a bit.
Yeah. We did see, and again, you are who you are, but there's we did see a science teacher early on with his shirt off, and I'm like, I think top 0.1% of science teachers have that torso.
Well, if you know the science, you can just inject the right things in yourself, you know what I mean?
There you go.
Not that I'm doing that, by the way.
No, of course. We were talking about Red Sparrow, I think, last time we were in person, and you were saying you would make a bad spy in real life. How do you think you would fare as a physicist?
As a physicist, I'd make a great spy. I think I would honestly. Like my brother was brilliant at maths and physics. I was not brilliant at any of those things, and yeah, I just wouldn't make. I'd blow things up, and it wouldn't be on purpose.
Right. Yeah. That's what they say the difference between scientist and troublemaker is, did they mean the explosion?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, in a different world, Oppenheimer's just a bad kid, you know?
I don't necessarily think there would be an actual profession, like professional vocation that I would have been really good at.
It's interesting you say your brother was good at math and science because you did ultimately end up in similar career paths.
Well, interestingly, physics is a big part of stunt. My brother started as a stunt guy.
I did not.
And I didn't realise how much physics goes into it. I mean, when you're thinking about the balance and weight of a car that's flying through the air and which way it's going to land and so on, physics does play a big part of it, and then just stupidity plays the other part.
Right. They say the kids that are both really smart and really dumb in physics class, they're like, thought about stunts?
Yeah. So I don't, acting is not a science, that's for sure. And it's relatively uncomplicated. I really don't think I would have made a great scientist, mathematician, anything. In fact, I don't even know that I'm a great actor, to be honest. So,
but this show does also, like, physics side, it also explores, like, the choices we make and, how we could, like, make a choice early on and diverge. And sort of career choice is one of those things. You say that, but were there any other things you examined doing at a young person?
Yeah, there was a point where I was going off to become an actor and I thought I might go to fine art school and be a painter.
So you found something that was less, sure thing.
Yeah.
You're like, I can't have one of these boring, a punch-in, punch-out acting jobs.
Yeah, I mean, like, today you could probably buy one of my paintings for $15 in a market somewhere in an alternate universe.
Yeah.
I really sometimes, the show really led me in for those reasons of wondering about the accumulative choices you make and where it's gotten you to this point today and whether you have gratitude for where you are or whether you regret certain things. I don't believe in regrets anymore. I used to. But it does make me curious to take a peek at the other versions of what your life could have been.
You currently, this has been something since we've last seen each other in person. You're the father of 2. Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm going to wave to them.
Yeah.
My kids watch me on interviews. Not that I make them watch my interviews, by the way, but if they do.
But they just are up watching late night TV.
They love your show.
Thank you.
They love your show. They try and talk to me and they get very upset when I don't talk back.
Oh, during the interview, they talk to the TV.
So I'll just pretend they're talking to me now and I'm like, hello, mate, hello. I'm here, I'll be right there.
You just want to do their half of the conversation so they're not thrown later. Your kids, I'm not just saying this because you're Australian, but I'm assuming your kids, like any kids that are almost 3, are Bluey fans?
They are Bluey and Bingo.
Yeah, Bluey and Bingo.
They're so obsessed with it that half the time they wear costumes, and if I talk to them and refer to them by their real name, my daughter goes, no, I'm Bluey.
Yeah.
And I have to call her by the name Bluey if she's wearing the ears.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I was wondering how much of the costuming, just ears?
Oh, everything.
You actually, you got to voice a Bluey character.
Yes.
You were a police officer. There you go. You can see very... Oh, there we go. There you go. So they've seen episodes where you're the police officer.
They saw the episode where I'm a police officer, and even though I told them that is my voice.
And did you do much of a voice?
No, a little bit. My partner Christine thinks that I maybe changed my voice a little bit.
Okay.
Too much, and maybe that's the reason. But I just don't think they put it together.
Yeah.
So they're like, I'm like, this is me, and they're like, get out of the way, Dad. We're watching Blue, watching this cool cop. You're not cool.
So they won't even take your word for it?
No.
Yeah. Do they, in general, sort of think you're a liar?
They don't. Yeah. Well, yeah. You know what it's like. You got kids. Yeah, nothing you do is right, and you're wrong on everything, and you can't win an argument with a child, which means you probably should send your child into law school because then they would make a lot of money and win a lot of cases.
I walk my kids to school, and it's my favorite 20 minutes of the day. That's a lie, but I like the idea of it. I like the idea of that I'm a person where that's true.
That's true. Yeah.
But we have people walk by, and every now and then, a nice thing about New Yorkers is they also have somewhere to be. So nobody bothers me, but every now and then somebody will be like, hey, man, good to see you. And I'm like, oh, hey, thanks. Very nice. And they'll be like, how do they know you? And I'll say, oh, they probably know the show. And they're like, okay. And then somebody else will do it. Mm-hmm. And they're like, how do they know you? I'm like, the show. And then somebody will be like, how do they know you? I'm like, he was my oldest friend. He's my oldest friend from my old hometown.
No.
Do you ever, you were saying you only know twins, but do you ever think to yourself, oh my gosh, this is, exactly double what most people do the first time they have kids?
Yeah, I had nothing to compare it to. And this is the reason why I say I have zero regrets in life. One of them is because, like my character on the show, if you took my life away from you, I would destroy you to get it back. And any time in my past that I've had regrets, I now realise that everything I am is part of all the choices I've made up to this point. and I wouldn't exchange anything for the world. And I'm not even going to make a joke.
Yeah, I think it's a really lovely, real place to leave it. It's so nice to have you back in the building, man. You guys, that's Joel Edgerton. Dark Matter premieres on Apple TV Plus on May 8th. The new episode's available on Wednesdays, and you're right back with Lily Gladstone.